This video is brought to you by Law Excellence IAS Academy.
Dear students, good morning. Welcome to DEEP, Daily Editorial Enrichment Program of Law Excellence IAS. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 18th June 2019. The first article, A Blinkered Understanding of Migration. This article is about the new draft Migration Act which is about to come up. So this draft Immigration Bill 2019 has certain pitfalls. These have been discussed over here. Let me put it this way. An immigration shall be more facilitative and also protective. It shall protect the Indians living abroad, and as and when emergency services are required, India shall rope in. So it has to be a complete end-to-end document. So in this case, India's migration can be broadly divided into two streams. One is towards developed West, and the other is unskilled manpower going to West Asia. So here it is believed that people going towards the developed West are well off and they can sustain themselves. So protection is required for the unskilled manpower going towards the that is West Asia. So here this thinking is also overriding the draft Immigration Bill 2019. But today the world is changing fast. Even in the case of the West, undocumented immigrants and the people involved with immigration, breaking immigration laws have increased. So in this case, with the Trump and the origin of protectionist regimes across the world, many of the lives of the people who have migrated or who went to education into the West are also at peril. So immigration policy fails to look into this dimension. And second, any immigration act shall be an end-to-end. It means deportation, journey, job, and if necessary, return. So our draft bill takes into consideration only departure, journey, destination, but not return. If you see in Kerala, many of the people they go for West Asia for jobs. So after they are returning back to India, they are not being provided with the necessary jobs, etc. So that's why our entire immigration has to be a complete life cycle. And second problem with the immigration in India, which is also not addressed by the existing bill, is over-regulation. Let's take nurses from Kerala. If they have to go out of the country, only the government agencies shall make them possible. So in this context, this bureaucratic bottleneck is actually delaying their job and other prospects. So in the new bill, every agent who is taking care of the employment or education abroad shall be registered with a statutory body created under the law. So these two are two different things. The students who are going for the Western universities, if they need to have the clearance from the statutory agencies, obviously it will become too cumbersome, and also it will increase the cost of their journey and this entire process. So in this case, what the author says is a rights-based approach can be a way forward to provide for better services to the people who are flying out of India for various jobs. And the second, there is no proper data available with the government on how many people are migrating out of India and how many people are skilled and how many are unskilled. There is no clear data. So the government shall maintain such a clear data over here. And the next is unleashing the potential of urban India. So India's urbanization has a pattern. It is not towards the small and medium towns, it is more towards the metropolitan cities. So the primate cities are growing in India, our metropolitan cities are growing in India. And more, India's economic growth is accumulating in these metropolitan areas. More than 70, now as of now I think it is 67% of GDP of India is getting generated from these metropolitan cities. So that's why the governance in these metropolitan cities becomes very much important. However, today the governance in Indian cities is fragmented and then unsystematic and unscientific. So there is no holistic view which has been taken. So most of the cities are directly or indirectly governed by the state governments. In this context, 74th Amendment Act wanted to create metropolitan planning committees which are supposed to develop a draft development plan. And this draft development plan shall be an instrument of coordination between metropolitan area surrounding panchayats and municipalities. In this case, the 243PC, it defines the metropolitan area as those having a population more of 10 lakhs or more, composed in one or more districts, and consisting of two or more municipalities, panchayats, and other contiguous areas. It means that a metropolitan area is seen as an area which is spread over two or more districts, two or more municipalities, and panchayats. So, in this context, existence of mayor and his council, that is local government, control of the state government bodies, such as in Hyderabad Metropolitan Water Supply Sewage Board, all these things, these are called parastatals. So, existence of the parastatals, local government, everything makes urban governance a chaos. In this context, author gives us an important thing. One is city deals of UK, regional governance model of Australia, super city clusters of China. So rather than seeing city as an isolated geographical entity, a regional approach is taken up for the governance of the cities. It means that in UK, separate economic growth region is created, and this economic growth region comes in a contract with the central government. And this economic growth region will be under the direct control of the city mayor, and there will be a coordinating body that is created across multiple cities, and this is supposed to bring in a comprehensive development of that region. So this is what is called as city deal. So city deal is nothing but an agreement between the central government with a cluster of local governments, and this cluster of local governments shall work in a coordinated way and shall pave for the economic growth of the region. And similar is the model of regional governance and super city clusters of China. So in India also, we need to bring in better coordination and integration between urban areas for positive economic growth. That is what is the essence of this article. So in India, enough effort is being done in Bengaluru. So in this case, Greater Bengaluru Governance Bill 2018, which is not yet passed, if it is passed, a kind of a city deal can also take a look in India. The dangers of territorial nationalism. So, what is territorial nationalism? So, territory as a land which is inherited by a certain section of the people. So, it means India is a territory, and this territory has to be occupied. Certain people believing certain values and faiths. That's what we call territorial nationalism. So, India for Hindus, India for Hindi speaking population, India for Hindu culture. This all is an example for territorial nationalism. So, Golwalkar, his view of nationalism is more territorial. According to him, India is made up of Hindus, Hindi speaking population, and is ultimately equivalent to the Hindu culture. So he makes Indian or equates Indian culture with the Hindu culture. Now, on the other hand, Nehruvian view of nationalism, what he says is either it is Buddhist or Jain, is an 100% product of Indian thought and culture. So there is an Indian thought and culture. This Indian thought and culture has given to Buddhism, Jainism, and also this has nurtured the Hinduism. So this Indian thought and culture was able to assimilate every stream of knowledge, every stream of thought and culture that is coming in. So Indian thought and culture is coming up with a free mind, which he equated the free mind with a democratic mind. So this free mind, a democratic mind, is the reason for the evolution of Indian thought and culture. So in this context, in Nehru's view, our idea of India is not reducible to a single faith. So according to him, The culture of India was greatly influenced by the impact of Islam, but it is distinctively Indian. The culture of India is also impacted by Christianity, but it is distinctively Indian. So Indian thought and culture, it has influenced the every religion which is originated on this earth, also which has come onto India from the other regions. So in this case, the goal workers' views of nationalism is narrowistic, confined to certain religion and faith. It has considered India as mono-religious, monocultural, and monolingual. And Nehruvian view of nationalism made Indian thought and culture as diverse, plural, assimilative, and can absorb any culture and can influence any culture. That's how the difference is. So, in this case, rise of the Golwalkar's view of nationalism cannot sustain the Indian civilization for long. That is the opinion of the author. And this Nehruvian view of nationalism was not taken up forward by the Congress, it was taken up forward by the civil society. Now, in this context, anyone taking the Nehruvian view of nationalism is considered as anti national in the university spaces or in the public life. That is actually retrogressive and can be dangerous for the plural values of India. That is what this article talks about. Serious concerns over BT Brinjal. On this Saturday, we saw that a farmer in Haryana found growing BT Brinjal variety of seed. So, in this case, this BT Brinjal found to be distinct from the BT Brinjal developed by Mahiko in association with Monsanto. So, BT Brinjal Bacillus thuringiensis, it is said to be safety against the fruit and shoot borer, an insect on the brinjal. So, Shetkari Sanktan, it argues that the BT crops will increase the income of the farmers. So here the author argues that there is no such a guarantee. The BT Brinjal, once it is introduced, the cost of the seed, cost of the input will be many a times higher. And the second, if overproduction occurs, this ultimately leads to the fall in cost and it is going to benefit the consumer rather than the producer. So that's why farmer gets benefited from. This is a very short-sighted view. And the second, there are biosafety issues and biodiversity issues. What are biosafety and biodiversity issues? I can simply put it this way. The diversity of the world will be lost as multiple varieties of the brinjal will ultimately replaced by only one variety, that is BT Brinjal. And the next is the BT Brinjal was approved for cultivation by Genetic Engineering Approval Committee. But however, then the Environmental Minister Jairam Ramesh did not push it forward as the studies which are conducted on this are not substantive. And the next is the health, how it get impacted by the BT Brinjal, we are not sure as of now. So in this context, unless the research unfolds, more studies are conducted, releasing the BT Brinjal for cultivation will have long-term deleterious consequences on our life, on our health, on our environment, on our economy. That's what the essence of this article. Gloves off on trade. So this is about the trade war which is going on between India, United States of America. So United States of America did two important things. One is import tariffs. It has imposed import tariffs on India's aluminium and steel at 10%, 25% respectively. India is removed from the generalized system of preferences where India is considered as a developing country and given preference to its products. Now, in retaliation to this, the government of India also imposed duties on 29 US goods. So it means a kind of war started, a trade war started between these two countries. And repeatedly, United States President Donald Trump and also his Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross, these have criticized India as tariff king. So India wanted to be clear with regard to its policy with US. But however, US has insisted and prevailed upon India with regard to the import of oil and natural gas from Iran. Iran is more a strategic ally for India. In spite of that, the economic interests connected with the United States prevailed on India, and India stopped importing oil and gas from Iran. So, in this case, a G20 meeting is about to be held, and on the sidelines, Trump and Modi are expected to meet. And the US has two more concerns. These are related to e-commerce policy of India and also data protection laws of India. India wants data of Indians to be stored within the boundaries of India. Let's take Facebook, Google, WhatsApp, everyone stores the data outside India. So that's why data localization is what India is requesting for. And the second is India wants to have, or else US wants to have, liberal e-commerce provisions for Amazon like companies to sustain on this land. So in this case, we have to wait and see what will go on across sectors over time. This article talks about India has to focus on long term sustainable goals rather than short term growth. So, what he says is any economic crisis or any environmental crisis, they are the outcomes of narrow, parochial, short term view. So, in this case, if the long term view replaces the short term view, then the products or the outcomes can help the poor and can develop the nation faster. That's why he suggests for impact evaluation, cost benefits evaluation, objectives evaluation. Let's talk about impact evaluation. Author quotes 24 into 7 electricity supply in Gujarat. Because of this, vaccines are well protected and it has also externalities on the healthcare sector. So 24 into 7 electricity did not confine itself to the energy supplies to the household. It has created a positive impact on health, education, etc. And then cost benefit evaluation. So in this case, what is being spent has to be analyzed to the benefits which it is giving. So here comes the long term benefits matter the most. The sustainability of the outcomes that has to be looked on. Objectives based evaluation. So we talk about growth with equity. So it means objective of equity where growth has to be distributed for the benefit of everyone shall be evaluated. So the concerns of equity can be seen with objectives based good evaluation. So if we can observe this, India can definitely improve on its human development indices. That's what authors say. Financial stability is a key theme for monetary policy. Here, RBI Governor Mr. Das, what he says is, inflation targeting is the primary responsibility of RBI. Along with that, when inflation is under control, growth is also its responsibility. The underlying factor for these two is the financial stability. RBI is also concerned with the financial stability of the country by and large. Though it is not explicitly stated, when it talks about balancing the inflation and growth, the undercurrent of that is financial stability. Finally, thank you. Have a great day. All the best.